As a kid, our next speaker used to be obsessed with martial arts. However, he has come today to share one essential martial art for everyday use. Giving a vocal variety speech entitled Verbal Self-Defense, please help me welcome Ton.
The most fascinating thing for me about martial art is the fact that a small and seemingly feeble fighter could win over a much stronger opponent by using the best of his strength against the worst of the enemy's weakness. Martial arts, self-defense skill. This is something that could help protect you from some malicious stranger who would like to attack you as you walk alone in the dark street corner. My dear fellow Toastmaster and welcome guests, today I will introduce you a different kind of martial art and self-defense that could help protect you in the daylight, in the public, and not from the stranger, but from a lot of toxic people that you might know really well. Maybe your colleague, your friends, your boss, your subordinate, your relative, or someone in your caucus. Well, in everyday life, we have a conversation with different people. Some of this conversation could be negative, but some negative stuff could be constructive. Someone might come to me and say, Ton, you speak too fast. Or, Ton, you should make your cookies less sweet. Or, Ton, you should be more careful about your math homework because there's a lot of mistakes. Those are constructive because they are specific. They teach me how to be better as a person. Now, there are different kinds of negative comment that is negative for the purpose of being negative. Negative comment that have the purpose of attacking the person. For example, someone might come to Chris and say, Chris, you are such a retarded. When are you going to quit being a president? How should Chris respond? How should he defend himself? And there's no content in that sentence. No information for him to improve himself. Just want to make Chris feel bad and want everyone else to look at Chris in the negative side. Today, we offer you 4 different tips to get around this problem, to win over the fight gracefully. The first tip is try not to be defensive. Try not to be a victim. In martial art, one of the first laws that we teach people is to not to close your eye and cover yourself like this. Oh, don't punch me. And that's what most people do in a verbal attack too. The thing that Chris should never do is try to come up with a reason to protect himself. For example, Chris might say, oh, Ton, I worked pretty hard this week. You know, I need to do the wine tasting, take care of my relative, my wife, my kids, blah, blah, blah. That's bad because the more reason he gives me, the more I can turn those reasons against him. I can say, Chris, see, you can't even take care of yourself. You're so childish, immature. How do you take care of the club? And if you give me more reason, I just going to put more reason back into the question that can attack him. So the first law, don't be defensive. The second law, in martial art, we teach you to switch the position between attacker and defender. In verbal self-defense, Chris should turn his question back to me, should turn the point of the problem back to myself. In this situation, for example, what Chris should do, instead of come up with the reason to explain himself, he should ask me, well, Ton, so what kind of answer do you like? Or, Ton, what is the point of this conversation? At this point of the fight, now the question is going to come back to me. I will be the one who needs to explain. What am I doing here? Why do we need to talk to Chris about that? And I would guarantee you, most of the attacker at this moment of the fight, they're going to quit because they're going to be stunned and they're going to be like, oh, what am I doing here? I attack you because I want to attack you. No. That's bad, right? But, well, in many scenarios, you're going to have an attacker that is very aggressive. So he will try to come up with different reasons to keep attacking Chris. Chris, your lack of leadership skills, your lack of charisma. A lot of people in the club complaining about you, blah, 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 blah. So what are you going to do? Now, the third tip. In martial arts, you don't punch a person that attacks you. You don't kick him at a random place. You focus on one spot, the weakest spot, the sweetest spot, and keep punching at that location. The same as in verbal self-defense. What you want to do here is for Chris to come back to me and ask me a specific question. For example, he might ask me to define something. Well, Ton, what do you mean by leadership? What do you mean by charisma? Who actually complain about me? Can you give the name? Now I'd be like, charisma is management skill. Who complain about you? Maybe Mandy, maybe David Cole, maybe when was that? I don't know. So the more so what Chris should do is that he should keep asking the specific question. Have me define the term, define the specific scenario, define the specific situation. Because the more that I have to specify those scenarios, the more I'm going to lose my energy in the fight. The fourth tip is for the emergency situation. When your attacker is so good that he chases you to the corner of the fight, and he keeps attacking you with thousands of different good and convincing reasons. There's thousands of reasons that you can't process the information fast enough to go back against him. So what do you want to do? I offer my fourth tip. The fourth tip is that you're supposed to ask him back a question that sounds good, but confusing. Ask me back, for example, Ton, do you actually believe in what you think you know? Do you actually believe in what you think you know? And attack them then. It's kind of like hypnotizing. Like, and that moment is going to be the opportunity for Chris to come up with a new solution for the verbal fight, or maybe execute himself from the fight as I'm still stunned. What I believe, what I know. Now, to wrap it up, I offer you 4 tips today to win over the verbal fight. 1, don't be a victim, don't be defensive. 2, try to switch the position between attacker and defender by moving the point argument back to the attacker. 3, focus, hit on that sweet spot. Have him define the term. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by this? Define that. Your attacker is going to go nuts before he can attack you. And the 4th point, if you get stuck in the corner, ask a good question that is confusing, and your opponent can be stunned, and you can get out of it. I hope all of you learned something today, and will win the battle of words in everyday life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom, for your advice.